Hi, I'm John with CoachCom, and I'm excited to introduce to you the newest addition to our Tempo practice system family, the Tempo MAV Pro. Now there's a whole lot to cover here, but let's start with what really sets this Tempo MAV Pro system apart. The Tempo MAV Pro features a water-resistant TV, which is also sunlight readable, 12-inch Pro Audio grade waterproof speakers, as well as a subwoofer, speaker slides allowing the speakers to slide in and out, Bluetooth functionality for your phone or tablet, as well as control over your Victory or CoachCom clock. Now let's dive in and see how these features all work together to make the Tempo MAV Pro the most advanced practice system available on the market. So let's look at this side of the cart. We have our power, our I/O plate, and our control plate. Well, let's look at the rear of the cart and open up the rack area. In the rack area, we have our lift controller, our power, our DSP, our wireless microphone, our amplifier, some storage, and our battery backup, as well as 2 storage compartments. On the right side of the cart, we have the control plate, as well as the input-output plate, or as we'll refer to it, the I/O plate. Let's go over the control plate. You have the TV lift, which is a rocker switch. You open this door up, push up or down to bring the TV up or down, as simple as that. You have your video source button, which switches in between the internal computer and the external input device on the I/O plate, which we'll go over. And you have your volume switch, which is just an up and down button, brings your volume up or down. There's a digital screen, which indicates the volume level. Simple as that. Let's go over our I/O plate. It's called an I/O plate because it houses your inputs and your outputs. On this plate, you have a USB Type-C, which connects directly to the computer. This is good for transferring from a USB flash drive over to the computer, your schedules, your practices. You have a charge port. This allows you to charge your tablet or your phone quickly. You have a USB Type-A. This is similar to the USB Type-C, just an older technology. You can transfer anything from a USB flash drive over to this computer, including your schedules and practices. You have a network jack. This is not currently being used, but it is for future-proofing of the device, so we can implement any future technologies we'd like to add. Similarly, the XNet port is not currently in use, but it will allow in the future for us to connect to our X System products by CoachCom. We have our Bluetooth button. This allows you to pair your phone or your tablet, any other Bluetooth device, by holding this button for 3 seconds and simply pairing your device. We have our HDMI input. This allows you to plug your replay tablet, your phone, your laptop, PlayStation, Xbox, any HDMI device into this and view it on this 55-inch screen. We have our HDMI output. Similarly, anything viewable on the 55-inch screen will be viewable over this HDMI output. So if you have another cart or a projector, anything you want to send video to from the cart, you can do so. You have our line in, which is just a simple 3.5 or headphone jack, if you will, input to use with your laptop or your phone. You have an XLR line in, which is also a line level input. This is good for if you were doing a production, you could hook up a mixer, something like that to it directly. You have a mic in, which allows you to plug in any wired microphone. You also have this Tempo output, which allows you to connect any of our other Tempo products, including our big Tempo speaker trunk. Now we've covered the hardware, let's talk about the software and how that brings it all together. On initial startup, it scans your library resources. That's just making sure your music is good to go and playable. Then we've got our home screen. I'm going to maximize it real quickly. Now our home screen just shows settings, closed media player, and schedules. It's exactly what you would expect it to be. We're not going to deep dive into this portion today, but I will say that your media player is just your typical audio player. If you want to listen to music in the locker room without having to create a whole practice, that's the best way to do that. Let's look at the bread and butter though, the schedules. So Rather than get too deep in the weeds today, we're going to just look at something I've pre-built here. You'll get a good idea of what it looks like to build a schedule from scratch just by looking at this. So when I go to edit schedule, you can see the general tab. Under that, we've got demo schedule. It shows us our library folders where our music is hosted. And it also shows us our default period length and our length of our scheduled practice. Those are all things that will carry over into when you're actually building a period. Very simple stuff. You can see start sound, period, end warning, end sound. So this is just the basic options that you can set for when you're actually creating each individual period. So the next tab we have here is our period list. That's just to show you, hey, I've got 7 periods, shows you the duration, how many songs are in there, really simple stuff. This is where it all happens. So we've got our 7 periods. Each one is named. So we named it stretch for that first period. We set our time to 25. You can see our second period's named offense and the time is set to 12. Then we've got our music. All we did was drag and drop our music into there. You can see that it works perfectly. We just drag it and drop it. So this is where you basically build everything out. And we've also got our one-touch tab. Now our one-touch tab allows us to put all of our effects on the bottom of the screen. So you'll take a look at what that looks like here in a second. I'm going to throw something in this blank spot just to fill it in. You know, I don't like the name of that one. We're going to put that there. All right, so we've got all of those buttons filled in. We're going to go ahead and save it and close it and go to play. So it says ready for practice, is ready to play. So we can scroll down here with your keyboard, or if you have a controller, you can press pause or play and it will start the practice. I'm on a keyboard, so I'm going to press start.
Period 1. Stretch. Period 1.
You see that our clock
Stretch.
has popped up. Our music has started. Now I'm going to turn the music down a little bit so I can talk over it. So you see we've got a volume knob down there, a volume slider, if you will. We've also got all of those effects that we had set up. So you hear I pressed air horn and it plays. Very simple stuff here. So that's how that side works. We've got our next track, pause audio, previous track, increase time, decrease time. And we've also got our 2540 clock. A lot of people love this feature. It allows you to have 2 clocks in one screen. So we can clear that out. I can pause just my audio if I don't want to have audio while I want to talk or anything like that. So really simple, really intuitive. If I go away, you see that that bottom portion went away and it's really clear and legible. So really easy to use. I hope you guys enjoy this software. Thank you.
I want to show you a couple cool features we have outside of all the things we've already shown you in the software and the hardware. So we're going to go ahead and run a practice. I'm going to go ahead and start it.
Period 1. Stretch. Period 1. Stretch.
So you hear the music starting. When I speak, I'm actually cutting the music out. We call it ducking the audio. So coach can be blasting, blaring music as loud as he can. And he can also make announcements and he won't have to worry about clashing with the music. Now this works for every input on the device. So you can be Bluetooth on your phone, put this mic on, put the wired mic on, and they're going to duck that audio. Very cool feature we have. Something else that we haven't covered really yet in detail, which is how you get these speakers out. I'm sure you saw in some of the stills that the speakers can come out. So you can slide both speakers out and use them completely open, or use the cart with the TV down and the speakers in. It's pretty modular. It can be big, it can be small. The other cool feature we have going on here is you can turn these speakers and put them at a 45-degree or a 90-degree angle. So if you want to point downfield with one speaker, you can. I can also take the speaker and I can loosen this knob here and point it. Say I have some stands behind me. but I have a practice going on. I can point it towards the field behind me. You can use this in so many different ways. It's just really cool, really intuitive, easy to use. Now, I think you heard a little bit of feedback, but you heard it didn't stay squeaking. We have feedback reduction. You hear I'm right up on the speaker, right next to the speaker, and I'm not getting feedback. If I do get feedback, it cuts itself out, as you can hear. So you don't have to worry quite as much about walking up on the cart and accidentally getting a ton of feedback. There you have it. That was our overview of the Tempo MAV Pro. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call or visit the website. Thank you.